8b. He saw a bear. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand and talk about past events in a story about wild animals. Use the past simple in positive statements correctly, with a set of regular and irregular verbs. Use a lexical set about free time activities correctly. Talk about free time activities in the past and present. One. Reading. A. Look at pictures 1 to 3 below. Match the pictures to the animal names. Where do they usually live? What do you know about them? Deer, bear, hippo. 1. Curious creature. Andrew Singer from Utah was at home in his house on a farm. One evening he was in the kitchen and he heard something strange in the garden, so he looked out of the window. He saw a bear in the garden. The bear walked around the garden and looked in the windows of the house. It tried to open the kitchen door and Andrew was really scared. It wasn't possible for the bear to get in, so it went away. Andrew thinks the bear was hungry, but it's not a good idea to give bears food. 2. Surprise visitors. A woman from Indiana had a ground floor flat with a garden. In the evening she went into her living room and watched TV. She heard something in her bedroom, so she went to look. She saw 3 deer near her bed. They came into the living room and jumped on her sofa. Then they went into the bathroom. The woman called the police and they came to catch the deer. She had an exciting night with her 3 new friends. 3. Ready to play. Ben Kruger from South Africa loves playing rugby. He has a business in Limpopo, a city in the north of South Africa. One night after work he went to a rugby field nearby. It was dark and he saw something on the field. It was large, but it wasn't a person. It was a hippopotamus, hippo. Then he saw another hippo, and then another. There were a lot of them. The hippos ate some grass and then went away. Ben thinks the hippos were from a river near the rugby field. B. Read the stories below. Write the story titles next to the sentences. Hippos were on a rugby field. 3 deer were in a woman's flat. A bear was in a man's garden. C. Read the stories again. Complete the information. Where, when, animal activity, Andrew from Utah, bear at home, Ben from South Africa, evening, a woman from Indiana. Jump. Do. Talk about the questions. Which story do you like? Which animals sometimes come into houses in your country? Cat, dog, bird, Bt snake. What do you do if a wild animal comes into your house?
Track 8.12. Look. Looked.
Watch. Watched.
Call. Called.
Jump. Jumped.
Walk. Walked.
Try. Tried.
Have. Had.
Hear. Heard.
Eat. Ate.
See. Saw.
Go. Went.
Come. Came.
B. Answer the questions about the table in 2a. What do we add to the verbs in A to make the past form? Do the verbs in B all change in the same way or in different ways?
Track 8.13. 1. talked. 2. Lived. Track 8.14.
Looked. Watched. Called. Tried. Walked. Played. Finished.
Track 8.15.
I talked to Sue yesterday. They played tennis on Saturday. He was nice. I liked him. They arrived last night.
Track 8.16.
I went to a party on Friday. We had sandwiches for lunch. I saw Peter yesterday.
F. Complete the sentences so they are true for you. Yesterday I called a person. Last month I saw a TV program. Last weekend I went to a place. Last night I ate food.
Track 8.17. 1. I just went to a cafe.
Okay.
I had a large coffee
Right.
and I read the newspaper.
Okay.
I don't usually read newspapers.
Really? They're interesting.
I read things online. Anyway, I read this funny story about a bear.
A bear?
It came into a man's house.
In his house? Oh no.
Yeah, it wanted food and then it went away again. 2.
I was in the car this morning on my way to work. I heard this story on a podcast.
Oh, yeah?
A man in South Africa. He went to play rugby.
Right.
So he went to this rugby field and there were these hippos on the field.
Hippos? Like, you mean hippopotamuses?
Yeah, the really big animals.
Wow! Interesting, mates.
They were from the zoo or something.
They were from the zoo.
Yeah, I think so.
3. I talked to my friend Katie last night. I called her.
Oh? How is she?
Good. She had this interesting story.
Uh-huh.
She watched the video online about a woman and some deer.
Deer? The animals?
Yes, they came into a woman's flat.
How many?
3 of them.
3?
They jumped around, went into the kitchen and ate all her food.
And the woman?
She called the police. Track 8.18. 1. I just went to a cafe. 2. I had a large coffee. 3. And I read the newspaper. 4. I read this funny story. 5.
I heard this story on a podcast.
6. I talked to my friend Katie last night. 7. She watched the video online.
C. Match verbs 1 to 6 with a word or phrase in the box to make more past simple phrases. A book. To my parent. Home. Dinner. A film. For a walk. Breakfast. A song on the radio. To my friend.
Track 8.19. Yesterday I had breakfast at about 9 o'clock, and then I went to a cafe and had coffee with my friend Karen. After that, I went to work and was there all day. I had dinner with my brother, and then I went home and called my parents. I talked to my friend Rosie in Brazil on Skype. After that, I watched a film online, and then I went to bed and read a book before going to sleep. Track 8.20. 1.
On Saturday morning, I went shopping. Then I went to a cafe for lunch. In the afternoon, I went to the cinema with a friend. In the evening, I went to a party. It was fun.
2.
Yesterday, I had a coffee with my breakfast, and then I had a shower. After work, I had a pizza, and I had a drink, a glass of water.
3.
In the morning, I listened to the radio. Then on the bus, I listened to music on my phone. I watched a football match in the afternoon with my friends. In the evening, I watched a film on TV. It was a nice day.
4.
On the train this morning, I read a book. Then I read the newspaper, and then a magazine. I like reading.
5.
After school last night, I played football with my friends. Then I played the guitar for an hour. Then I played a video game before bed.
Track 8.21. 1.
Go. Went.
2.
Have. Had.
3.
Listen. Listened. Watch. Watched.
4.
Read. Read.
5.
Play. Played.
G. Complete the sentences about free time activities. When I was a child, after work/school, I often. On weekends, I like to. H. Tell other students your sentences in 3G. What free time activities were/are popular? A. When everyone was a child. B. After work/school. C. At the weekend.